Well, hey, on today's episode, we have a good friend of mine who is the youth pastor over at Grace City Tampa, as well as a teacher here at Sparrow Academy. Come on, welcome to the show, Bobby Mainellis. Go. Cool. All right, Bobby, we're live. Thanks for joining me, man.
Let's go. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Dude, right before we got on here, we were just talking about how AI is going to take over our world, right? Yeah.
I don't know if I love it or if I hate it.
Yeah. The context for what we were talking about was there's a couple like obviously everybody's getting into the AI stuff and like churches are as well, which I love. I actually think it's cool. Like I think
Yeah.
there's a guy that I know pretty well who created his own AI thing for churches. And his whole thing is like, you know, churches tend to be like, or Christians even in the bigger part tend to be like behind on a lot of stuff. Like they were behind on the printed word and like behind on like television and radio and all these things.
Yep.
And we kind of catch on later on. But like if we could be at the forefront of what this happening with AI, would be cool. Like the AI that we talked about of like, oh yeah, you just ask your pastor a question and it's like based on all of his sermon content.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of cool. Like, but like you call and like it's an AI pastor to pray for you. Feels like a little bit too much.
Got an accent.
Yeah. How make my pastor more Southern. Yeah. More Southern.
Praying for you, brother.
Yeah. Dude, just how far south can I take this pastor?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think it's interesting. We're about to see this weird turn. I'm definitely in the middle where I think AI should be a tool, but I could see where it could, you know, there's little kids that have no friends and they're getting bullied and they're like, be my friend.
Yeah. There is actually that's actually not far off from, I think, I read this like a little while back and I don't have the source, so could be wrong. I don't know, but it said something about how like, you know, for our age, are you millennial, right? Are you younger in millennial or what are you? I'm a millennial, I know.
I don't think so. I think I'm right on the cusp of it. I'm 28.
Which would make you not Gen Z or no, what's the middle right there? It's millennial.
I have no clue. I have no idea.
Gen Z and then Alpha. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. But anyways, as a millennials, I think the millennials more so often will be the ones to ask like AI questions about like the everyday stuff. Like, hey, how many, you know, ounces are in a quart or whatever, like random math or stuff like that. Whereas like the younger generation are asking like, why do we believe blank or like more life questions? And seeing what it spits out.
And that's where I feel like I probably draw the line where I'm going to people that have had experience.
Yes.
And so it's so hard for me to agree with people when they're like, well, why don't you just, you know, look up your favorite psychologist and then tell ChatGPT to talk to you like that psychologist. I would rather just go to a professional, someone who has some experience.
Same. Yeah. And it's not that hard to do. It's really not that hard to reach out to people. And even if they say no, it's like,
totally.
All right, well, I tried.
But what I do love to use it for is if I look in my fridge and I see that there's absolutely nothing in there, I will type in all of the things that are in my fridge.
I've never done that.
I will say, chat, make me a meal with these items. And it works every time.
Oh, I've never done that, dude. I've used it for like stupid pictures, like, hey, make me 30 years older.
Yes.
The one I've actually legitimately used recently was, what would I look like if I shaved my head? Like, because I'm on the cusp of like wanting to do it.
Yeah.
And but it changed my whole face too. I was like, well, that's just not me.
I've been using it for fantasy football.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Just lighting all my friends up, and I'm putting them next to their favorite players, and they're just in a trench, like crying.
That's actually great.
With Jahmyr Gibbs.
Dude, I actually should ask it fantasy football advice. This is my worst year I've ever had.
There's a guy in one of my leagues who has the best record. He has the highest amount of points, and he drafted it completely off of ChatGPT.
Really? Oh,
every round.
Dude, there's somebody in my work league that she auto drafted and she's dominating. She's definitely going to make the playoffs.
Doesn't that make you mad?
Yeah. But it was crazy too, because she started off with like 2 tight ends in the first 4 rounds.
Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah. And she's still just crushing.
Yeah. So frustrating.
It's all luck, dude. Well, dude, thanks for being on the show, man. It's cool to like catch up with you. And I wanted to like talk a little bit too, just kind of getting to know you and your story, maybe sharing a little bit about like you, and obviously we'll get to what you're doing now, but kind of how you grew up, and yeah, maybe share a little bit about like who you are with us.
Yeah. I grew up in Tampa my whole life, Tampa, Florida. So diehard, everything Tampa Bay, Lightning, Bucks. That was our whole entire culture in our house. It was just Tampa everything.
Tampa sports.
I remember one of my first memories was the Super Bowl, when the Bucks won the Super Bowl, and my dad threw this huge party that he couldn't afford, and everybody was just drinking, having fun, and I just remember us going home.
Pay that off later.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that was kind of how it was for us growing up. My parents had me super young, and always grew up with a lot of activity in the house, and so it's just very interesting, like kind of how I grew up with young parents. And so I got to kind of experience a lot of things from them, just based on where they were at, with their walk with God, and just in their addictions and stuff, and life in general. So I just I'm really thankful for how I grew up with them. But yeah, I've been here my whole life, and I didn't always have the best family dichotomy. I grew up in church at the same time because of my grandma, and so she is my guardian angel. I love that woman.
She's awesome.
Love that woman to death. I would not be who I am today without her. But it was always this dichotomy in my life of like growing up with these parents who had this struggle with addiction, and also with my grandma. I knew what was right because I had her around, and she was always dragging me to church every Sunday. But that always was the thing that kept me steady. Kept me steady my whole life. And so going into middle school and high school, I just remember being like the class clown, but I also was like chopping it up with my teachers afterwards, just because I knew how you
had this balance.
I knew how to be balanced. I knew when I was making them mad, and I knew when I was pushing the envelope, and when to dial it back. But just always kind of had this tension growing up. But I now have, I graduated college. I've been teaching for about four years, going into my 5th year, teaching ESC. Exceptional student education. So kids with learning disabilities, trauma, stuff like that. Got married a couple years ago to my wife, my dream girl. And it's just been amazing. We own a house. We finally bought a house this year.
Oh, congrats, dude.
We got insurance.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Got
Big
insurance.
wins.
So that means hopefully some babies in this next year. And so it's been awesome.
That's cool, really man. Dude, I kind of stepping back a little bit to the beginning there too. It's interesting. I don't know. And maybe this is like a generational thing, because I look back, my parents were also really young too. My parents were like, I'd be curious like how old your parents were, but like I think mine were like 20 and 21. I'm pretty sure one of my parents couldn't drink like at their wedding.
18, 19.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, and I know my wife, Madeline's, her parents were very similar too. They were very, I think like just starting to be in their 20s when they had her, and then her sisters afterwards. And it's unique, dude, because I look back on pictures and I see like pictures of my dad back then holding me, and I'm like, you were a baby.
Yes,
like he just looked like a small. Like he looked so young, like a kid holding a kid, know. And it was obviously different for me. We had our first when I was 20. Let's see, probably 26 or 27, maybe. Was I? Or maybe I was a little bit older than that actually, but yeah, I can't imagine, I think about how much I grew from like my 20s, 20 years old to like 25, like even just 5 years there, about how much I grew and matured. It's interesting, man. Like and for me, luckily, even though my parents were really young, it was a great upbringing. And I think they worked really hard for what they had. And even being young, probably made some mistakes along the way, but we're learning and, you know, making corrections. For you, what did you see in your parents as being like young, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to learn along the way?
Yeah, it is interesting. I'll look at pictures of my dad at 21 years old,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm 28 now, and
Yeah.
I'll see that picture, and I'm like, I could not imagine having a 9-year-old right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Jeez.
how on earth would I do that? I still
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like I'm like a man child.
Dude.
Like, I feel
Yeah.
like
Right now where you're at having a 9-year-old. So meaning like, yeah, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
24, you had a 5-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
Like just crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's wild. Having young parents, I feel like is awesome in the sense that there was nothing that I could do that they didn't know about, that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't think was a possibility.
Mm.
Whereas I have old friends who have old parents,
Yeah, yeah.
and you know, I had friends in high school that were like 16 and their dad was like 50 years old, 50,
Sure, yeah.
60 years old. I'm like, dude, my dad's 36. I don't,
Wild.
I
Yeah.
can't relate, you know?
You're
But
just saying like they could catch on to what you were trying to do a lot quicker
Yeah.
than like an older parent.
yeah, but it was also like, I grew up playing Madden with my dad.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I would walk in on my dad just playing GTA.
Yeah.
He's playing San Andreas.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome. It was awesome growing up with young
Mhm.
parents and just knowing too what struggle looks like, but also coming out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think a lot of times, like for me, even I wanted to accomplish all this stuff before having a kid. You know, I wanted to get a degree. I wanted to be married. My parents weren't married when they had me.
Mhm.
They have never owned a house, and those were all things that I wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
awesome.
it's just, I don't know, it's very interesting being able to always be close to my parents in
Mhm.
that way. Felt like I was always learning with them, if that makes
Yeah, yeah.
sense. And the biggest thing with my mom and my dad is in our house, the word sorry, like I'm sorry, was always said.
Mm.
And so I grew up always hearing that. And
Yeah.
so for me personally,
It's really great though. Yeah.
yeah, it's just always been a great thing. Like all the things that my parents have ever done wrong in my life, whether there was drug abuse, alcohol abuse, physical abuse, maybe staying out too long with their friends while my babysitter Dave is watching me and we're just watching Kangaroo Jack till 1 a.m.
Babysitter Dave.
Oh
That's
man,
great, yeah.
Dave ruled. Dave was like 300 pounds and was a black belt. He's awesome. But yeah, like all those things, it was just super impactful for me, like
Mhm.
being able to learn from them and just learn that sorry is so normal.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case for everybody. And I grew up that way. I grew up learning how to forgive quickly
Mhm.
because, you know, my parents did the same thing.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I love too is even like, and I've known this about you for quite a while. Like, you know, you and I have worked together, been friends for quite a while.
Mhm.
And I always appreciate the way that you look at things because I could see there's a lot of people who may grow up in a similar situation
Mm-hmm.
and had parents who were going through addiction very young, you know, maybe not teaching you the things that you would have hoped you would have learned at a certain age because they're also still young and learning,
Right.
you know,
Yep.
and have used that as kind of like ammunition against them for the rest of their life.
Totally.
I've heard people with that, like the negative of like, oh man, this is like, you know, my trauma of how I grew up and all of this was negatives. You actually, which I think is so wise.
Yeah.
Like there definitely were negatives. I'm sure there are things that you wish you could change, but there's also like, how can I not just completely black out all of history and say,
Totally.
okay, here's the wins that I learned. you know?
That's the thing that I've had to learn in my life is that there's a difference between my reasons and my rights.
Mm,
I have every reason to have resentment towards them.
yeah.
I have every reason to feel all of these ill emotions towards
Mm.
how they've been, but I don't have the right
Yeah.
because I mean, I could take this to church, you know.
Let's go.
Where
Yeah.
It's like I also am someone who makes mistakes. I also have impacted people's lives. And Jesus has taken that right from me because he is perfect. And I understand that I too am someone who makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And I trauma isn't an excuse for poor behavior. And it's not an excuse to treat people terribly. People are always like, man, that's just how I grew up. I grew up saying this. I grew up with people like this, talking to me this way. And
so this is how I treat people back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild to me. How tiring it is to feel that way all the time, and to continue that pattern. That's exhausting. And it's just very sad to me that people leave it at that, because there's not enough time for me to not forgive.
Right.
There's not enough time for me to hold this against somebody, because what it does at the end of the day, if I don't forgive them and if I hold this resentment towards them, I'm just living it over and over and over again. Like, how could I not forgive them, knowing that if I don't, I'm going to relive this over and over. And I don't want to live that way.
For sure. Well, there's also such a level of humility that I think that comes into that, is saying, I think about how, like, me sitting here now at 33. Yeah, I'm 33 now. And dude, when my dad was 33, I was 12 or 13 years old. Like, I mean, he had a teenager basically at the time that I'm at right now.
Right.
And, I look back on all the things, like, I don't know. I look back on now kind of being a dad and seeing the things he did. And of course, like, there were things that I think I made a bigger deal even as a kid. And we're like, oh, I can't believe they do this to me, whatever. And now as a dad, I'm like, oh man, I get that this stuff is just hard, like absolutely. Being able to, that's the thing I think I'm learning so much in this season of my life right now, is being okay to say, hey, back then I got it way wrong. Like years ago when, like, I, like, as a kid, I didn't realize how hard this whole parenting thing would be. And like, that it is actually good for me to be disciplined and for me to, like, have stuff taken away from me. Cause I need to learn that, like, either, like, whether it's respect or honor or whatever the case is. Even, dude, on a recent episode that we just had here with, Mike Lewis.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a part of our church, also police officer, deputy sheriff now, I think, something like that. But
Mike.
Yeah, he's crushing it. Yeah, he's doing great. Go Mike. But just even a couple weeks ago, I was able to tell him, like, dude, like, in 2020, when all the stuff was going down with everything, he and I had very differing views. And I'm fully aware to say now, I'm like, dude, I had so much of that wrong, just completely wrong.
Yeah.
And he even said too, he was like, yeah, he felt the same way and for some certain things. But I just think the whole point is, humility will serve you so well if you're willing to be able to look back on even things that maybe have hurt you and wronged you, and obviously things you maybe even wish have changed, to look back on it and say, how can I also accept some of the things that, like, I needed to glean from it and learn from it,
And that's my biggest fear now, is going into being a father, is like, I don't want to make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to make all these mistakes, and making sure that I'm in the place to be open to that, to making those mistakes and just learning from them. Because I just have to accept the fact that it's not going to be perfect. And, we were talking about all the ways we can prepare beforehand. I'm like, I want to get insurance. I want to make sure that the room is set, all that stuff. But every single dad I talk to always tells me, you can be ready as much as you want in this way or that way. But when that baby comes, you're going to be like, I wasn't ready for this.
100%. Yeah, dude. All those things are great. And also, I'm a dad. My oldest kid is 4. So this is, whatever wisdom that gives me as like a dad for at least 4 years. With a third on the way now, which is crazy. But 3 boys.
Let's go.
Our house is going to be crazy.
You got a brigade.
Football team in the process.
Future Falcons, wide receivers.
Yeah, just a life of pain. Life of pain. But I think that, where was I going with that? No, yeah, as much as you can prepare, like it is good. Like have secure the house, whether it's a buying or renting, whatever you can do. At least like having a place to bring them to, and the insurance and all that stuff. But yeah, dude, you're never fully prepared. And I will say this too, and to try to spin this in, this is going to sound bad to spin it in a positive note. Like you are, I hope maybe you will be the exception. I feel like it can speak for me. There were things that like I wanted to correct, and not even like, I'll say it like this. There were things that I wanted to correct that I never wanted to do that my dad did. And again, I'm not even throwing my dad under the bus. My dad was a very young dad.
No,
and
totally,
there were
I get
things
what you mean.
where like, you know, he always apologized and we always had moments where we reconciled. But even as a dad now, I'm realizing like I do some of the things that he did just because I'm also human.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm very much like him, you know, and I love that. I love my dad. Like, I think that like there were times where maybe he got like overly frustrated, and I too now. There's times where, dude, my boys can do something to really like tick me off, you know? And I can get flustered in a moment. And then I think the real pain though is if I just don't recognize it. When I stop recognizing it and I'm just mad dad, you know, like
Totally.
I'm just mad and don't do that. Don't do this. Like those are the moments where I think you start to, all that to say is I think like you will have those moments where you maybe aren't going to be fully prepared, but as long as you can continue to recognize, like, oh, I need to work on this still, you know?
Yeah, that's, and you literally said it exactly the way that I've been thinking about it is, like there's some things that I do now that my dad did, and that would be the stuff that would either annoy me or make me mad at him or whatever. And I love my dad to bits. My Robert Luke Mainellis Sr.,
the man.
Hey, I love you, man.
I was about to say like for him, I was about to say go Bucks, but I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. I almost threw up in my mouth
you would
there a little bit.
You would rather bite your tongue off.
I'd rather bite my tongue off than root for your guys' team. But anyways,
But my dad rules. My dad is one of the funniest people, one of the kindest people. He would literally take not all the clothes, but as many clothes off his body that he could to give it to you if you were in need.
Yeah.
He is one of the best human beings. But he knows himself, and I know my dad, and so there are many things that I find myself doing that my mom and my dad have done, and it's like those little fits of anger. I also find that when I'm working on something or like my car, I make the same like scrunched face that my dad makes when he's concentrated. And when I'm like looking at things and trying to read things, like we make the exact same face. But I'm always wondering, how much of that is nature nurture, you know? I'm always wondering how that works and how that plays out. Cause I mean, I don't know if being a believer, like I don't know how much family curse. I don't know the theology behind family curses and patterns and stuff like that. But I'm curious as to how that plays out.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if, that's such a strong word, you know, like family curses. It does feel, that feels very ominous. Like holes. But I do think maybe if there's a better way for, or what a word for curse. What did you say?
You don't carry madams around.
Yes.
I think of holes.
Yeah. That's actually great. I just break out in the full like impression now. I want to badly, but anyways, I don't know if curse is such a strong word, but I'm like thinking of, there are definitely rhythms and patterns that like you can get into because this is how you saw, you know, for instance, I think about this, and again, it's no shade at like my family. It's just like a good like representation. My grandfather started a business like a long time ago, and it's awesome. It was successful, all that kind of stuff. Now, I think what I do remember about him and recognize about him, he worked a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Working often and stuff like that. And everything was very much like centered around like, there was definitely just naturally like he would talk about like his business a lot, or things would come back to the business, whatever. And I think my dad also, when I was young, now granted, to give him credit, he was young when he had me. They had to go back to work to now pay for a kid. And then my sister was shortly after.
Jeez.
But had to work a lot. And then obviously being in like his line of work too was having to, you know, network and do all this kind of stuff. Anyways, all I'm trying to say is like, I think that for me, I'm noticing now too, is I can easily get my mind focused to where like work is the only thing that I think about
Mm.
in an unhealthy way, to where it's like, dude, I need so badly, like when my kids get home. Our thing that my wife is consistently reminding me of now is like the first 10. And it doesn't stop at the first and last 10, but like giving them like undivided attention for the first 10 moments when I see them in the morning. And that's not the cap, but you know what I mean? Just
No,
at
yeah,
least
yeah.
like 10 minutes, undivided attention.
matters
And
how you
then when they
start
get
it.
home, it's like, even if I got to do some emails again, or because they get home before 5, I'll at least close my laptop for a while, put my phone away for at least 10 minutes or so, go outside, push them on the swing or something, because I want them to recognize that what I do for work is like, doesn't define who I am. It's like
Totally.
they're like, them and our family and our life is like the most important thing, you know?
Yeah. And that selfishness. And I just know that I have selfishness, you know, like I
Yeah.
love getting home, sitting on the couch, decompressing after work.
Yeah.
Because being an ESC,
Oh, I know what you mean.
like
Yeah.
you're with those kids I'm with those kids longer than some of their parents are, you know?
Probably. Yeah.
And so I come home with a lot of their weight, you know, if the kids get in a fight in my class, I'm feeling that at the end of the day.
And you're still processing it at the end of the day. Yeah.
Absolutely. And them not knowing I'm a child of trauma, like I've experienced a lot of stuff that they're experiencing right now. And so I get home and sometimes I like to decompress. I like to, you know, turn on ESPN or whatever. And that's the stuff right now. I just started working out at 5 a.m. randomly this last week. And I'm trying to keep it a rhythm because I know that's going to be the quietest time of my day.
Yeah.
And all the dads I talk to that work out, they're like, dude, if you can, get it done at 5 a.m. because you're going to have to fight that selfishness all the time. And I just want to be so good at that, at putting my personal things aside, especially when I know being a father is the one thing I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
In my life. I'm looking forward to that so much because
it is great. Yeah.
I just love like living vicariously through them is huge.
Yeah.
And that's just something
it gives, I think
to.
there's a reality too of like kids giving you so much purpose, you know? It's like so much like,
Absolutely.
man, like this is not comparing the two, but like I remember when we first got our dog Bowie, it definitely changed our home. Not to the degree, I'm not saying that dogs are the same as kids. I'm definitely not one of those kind of people, but
My wife
like
is.
we would, you guys do love your dog. Golden Doodle, right?
Bernedoodle.
Bernedoodle.
Even
Okay.
bigger.
Yeah.
Worse.
Dude. Yeah. Our Golden Doodle he just turned 8 and his hair never curled. So he's just sheds everywhere, but we love Bowie. But anyways, I remember like when we first got married and didn't have him, it would just be like, oh, we come home and it's just, you know, same old. But then when we got Bowie, like we came home and there was like something waiting for us and he couldn't wait to see us and there was excitement. And like, oh, like we came home to something. And now even more like we don't leave our kids at home and then just come back later and they're there. But like
Hey, buddy.
there's all this like excitement around like, dude, like even I held off on this and is it expensive? Yes. Has it been worth it? 1,000%. We got Disney passes
Let's go.
this year and our boys love it. I actually just took Leo yesterday. It was just a dad and Leo date day. And it's kind of nice because like Madeline being pregnant and Elliot being younger, they can't do a lot of the stuff. So usually it's like me and Leo kind of like, okay, maybe we're not going to do this one or we just run off and do one separately.
Yeah.
But we got to just like run and do rides together. And dude, it was so fun to just like live all that through his eyes. We did the Millennium Falcon one. He was the pilot,
That rules.
which was the worst, but like he loved it. He's just like
got, like,
slamming into all the walls.
The 50-year-old Star Wars fiend in the back. He's getting so mad that your son is just.
Yeah, we actually got lucky that it was another family with younger kids, but they both hated the ride. They were screaming and crying. And meanwhile, Leo's up there just like, I'm doing it and smashing in every wall. But all that to say, it's like, yeah, it's like so much of it changes and it's just so fun, man. Like you get to see the world through a new set of eyes in a way.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. That's such a good way to put it for sure. And just knowing I'm not going to give them what I experienced.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want that pattern to leak into their life and affect them. I just thought of this. There's this like epigenetics study that was super interesting. And I forget what, I don't know what they're doing in these big universities. It's kind of insane.
They have so much time on their hands.
There's so much weird stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
But I saw this and it was so interesting. They put these rats in a box and they put this electrical blanket or sheet underneath them, and they would spray this cherry blossom scent into the box. And every time they sprayed it into the box, they would shock the rats, and they would just keep shocking them every time they would spray the scent. And then eventually they took away the electrical sheet, and every time they would spray into the box, the rats would spaz out, and they would as if they got shocked. And that same trait ended up being passed down to their kids that didn't ever experience the shock, and even some of the grandkids of the rats also experienced that same shock without ever being introduced to the electrical blanket. Yeah, so crazy.
There is a reality too where I don't want to like just make this all because what I do like think as a truth is like, yes, there are some things that are just passed down because of visual, like we see, and so like the whole monkey see, monkey do, or whatever. It's like we see what we kind of recreate what we've seen, even if we don't want to. It's just what we kind of know to be true about either being a dad or whatever. There's also realities too where like our lives and our world is spiritual. Like there is also like a spirit within us, and there is the angels at work. There's also the demons at work also to try to pull us away. And I do think that. It's so funny. Me and Wayne were talking about this a couple weeks ago on one of the podcasts, but like, whereas I genuinely believe like a land and an area can be cursed by maybe going deep, but like, by just generations and years of people who are just far from God and doing evil things. And there needs to be some sort of redemption to that. You know what I mean? Not everybody in that whole area may be evil, but just there's stuff that continues to go bad with this area, And I think there's a reality too where maybe families who've been caught in the cycle of sin, that passes down to generation to generation. Some of it is visual, like, oh, I see you doing this and I think this is okay. But also just like the tendencies to like,
or just like
this is where my mind wanders,
Yeah. And I think some of it too is just like overswinging the pendulum. Yeah. Where I may not be angry at the same stuff that my dad was, but the opposite, when anybody,
you mean like maybe too passive or just like, or mad about different stuff?
Just different stuff.
Yeah.
Like for me, someone can come up to me, say, I just robbed this house and I just sold drugs to this whole community.
Yeah.
Please pray for me. I need God. And I'm like, dude, yes, let's go for it. Like, let's make this thing happen. But as soon as someone who is like so self-righteous crosses my path, oh my gosh, it disgusts me because I'm just like, dude, I don't have time for this. I don't have.
Yeah. The pride thing. Yeah.
Oh, it just makes me so mad. Yeah. But I think that's kind of where that.
There's really nobody that can wear it well.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? Like nobody wears pride well. Like even like the people who maybe you would think like could deserve it, like either millionaires or, super successful people. Like even when you see them and then they act overly prideful. That's why sometimes I don't want to know about people that I look up to. I don't want to know like more about their private life because I don't want to be disappointed.
Like The Last Dance made me so mad at Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Like the way he is.
Yeah. Like I know that's what it takes to win. I don't think I want to win then.
Yeah. Just like kind of completely shutting out everybody else. Or even like, dude, another one is I read this book a while back and it is worth reading. I don't think I could ever read it again because of how big it is, but the story on Steve Jobs, the way he lived his life he was very, I mean, I'd probably say prideful, like into a sense. Actually, yeah, I'll say it. That's prideful. But he would he just wasn't, I think he self-admittedly wasn't a great father, wasn't really a great husband because he sent all of his focus was on what he was building and what he believed to be great. And he did build something incredible, but it was also to the neglect of everybody around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's definitely a prideful arrogance to him.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's another weird thing too, where it's like, man, it's an interesting question. I don't think I have the answer, but God allowing, I don't even know if this is God allowing, but people who are kind of far from him finding amazing success. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super interesting. And I think I think it's the right people to make mad
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, because Jesus made, the Pharisees
Yeah.
and those guys angry, and these guys would be self-righteous. And I personally, I think it's okay to, you know, push the envelope a little bit with people like that, just because um I do want to spend more time with those who do want to make a change,
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
than somebody who thinks they got it all together and they got all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no time for that.
Yeah. I
Right.
actually, dude, that's something I admire so much in people. And I know a handful of them. I know a bunch of them, but like people who I look at and they're like, man, they're doing so well. Like they're crushing it at life. It doesn't even have to be like money isn't even the indicator of success, but just like how they live their life, their friend groups and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still willing to like ask questions or ask for advice or um, just be humble, you know? I love that, dude. I think that's such one of my favorite traits of like, oh, people I really respect. I'm like, oh, dude, you're just you've achieved so much, but yet I can talk to you just like in a normal conversation.
Yeah, but then there's the other side of that, where I also have to realize there's parts of me that can be proud,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the first people to say I don't have a pride issue are probably the ones that have a pride issue.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like people saying I don't want to go to church because there's all these hypocrites. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you are one too.
Yeah,
So,
we all are.
we
Yeah,
all,
welcome
we
to
all
the
are.
club.
And
Yeah.
I think if you're not admitting that, then you are the actual hypocrite. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like it's a weird thing, but it's also just realizing Jesus died for them too. That
Mhm.
it's hard for people to know this, but like he died for the marginalized, and he
Yeah.
died for those that made that margin. And
Mm.
so it's a tough pill for me to swallow a lot of times. That's me,
Yeah.
like, honestly, just
That's the thing that I think will always, as a follower of Christ, will always be the pull. Like, and it's just we're like, there's things I can't remember who I was talking about this with, but like, there's just things that I've come to accept that there are things that I will not understand about God or about Jesus and about the Bible, all of like, this our faith until I get to the other side. You know what I
Totally.
mean? Until I
Yep.
get to heaven. Is that like, why he forgives some, you know what I like, or just forgives all, rather. Sorry,
Mhm.
why he forgives all. Like I think about that, like the ones who've murdered and killed, and like they can, still find him, like crazy stuff, and still
Yeah.
find God and still, be saved. He says, "Come all to me, who are weary, and I will give you rest." Um, and yeah, dude, it's a very miraculous thing, and that's why like all the fun debates that you can have here and there of like, oh man, like how is the earth like young or old? Is like, the dinosaurs, how
I
does that fit into
love
the
those
whole
combos.
story?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, those are fun, but like or even like the aliens one is one that I got into with Wayne at one point where I'm like, yeah, I'll say this, like, I don't know. Do I think there's really aliens out there? Probably not. Like, you know what I mean? Probably
Mhm.
not. I feel like we'd seen them by now, and
For
maybe we
sure.
have, but even if there are, it's like, I don't think it completely rocks my entire faith.
Totally.
And I've already come to the acceptance that like there's stuff about God I just will never understand,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just some comfort in that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Dude.
Like,
I was thinking this earlier, sorry, from the conversation too, like with how you grew up, and obviously you've learned a lot from it too, but also there being some trauma to it. Do you feel like that's what leans you to like, because so much of what I've known about you, like you're, youth pastor over at Grace City Tampa.
Mhm.
And we're like, obviously we both were a part of Grace, and I am still like, we're a part of Grace City Church, but you moved over there and helped launch that campus.
Yeah.
And pastoring the youth over there, and then obviously you working with kids. Do you feel like there's a piece of you that, because of the way you were brought up, leads you to wanting to have a focus on young people?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I ever since yes.
Yes.
Ever since I was 16, 17 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I told myself I want to be who to other people that I didn't get to have.
Yeah.
And I want to be that consistently. And that's why it's amazing, like being bivocational and having a full-time job and teaching these kids,
Yeah.
while also, doing ministry full-time pretty much too. And it is the best case scenario for being bivocational, by the way.
Yeah.
Like my early 20s, I thought I just wanted to do ministry, be the guy somewhere doing something,
Sure.
and and that's all fizzled out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And yes, that's definitely been the driving force for me to yeah to be that person of impact in these kids' lives, because I know that some of them, majority of them, don't have anybody speaking positive words or even telling them about Jesus, anything in their lives.
And that matters, man. I love what you said too, of like, there was a time where I was like, you wanted to be like the guy, whatever that means.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Because I,
Like, what
I
does that
also
even
felt
mean?
that, dude. I think that that's something that, you know, whether it's Bible school or maybe whether it's just a mindset or, you know, it's very easy being young, and this isn't necessarily like a bad thing, but to look up to the people that are doing incredible. Obviously, the people that are either going through your feed or like the pastors you listen to or watch,
Yep.
and you just say, "Oh, I want to do exactly what they do," without understanding either what it is they actually do,
Yes.
or what it took for them to get there. You know,
Right.
dude, I remember for the longest time, when I first moved to Bible school, I heard this one pastor who formerly pastored in New York. I don't want you to think about who that was, but and I heard him for the first time, and I was like, dude, I want to be like just like that guy. Like, I was already like feeling like a call towards some sort of ministry and figuring that out.
Yeah.
And I just assumed like, oh, he just like started preaching and started traveling and speaking around, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a terrible mindset, because there is the reality. And I've found this out even more over the last like few years or so, but like God will, it's not even like, there's this saying like God will elevate who he's going to elevate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that if you're not one who gets quote unquote elevated to like a platform and speaking, that he's also not using you in powerful ways too. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Elevate may not even be the best word for there, but it's like God will use who he's going to use for particular ways. And he could actually use you and I for, you know, world changing things. And we may never travel to preach or to step on a platform again, you know?
There are more people attached to you than you think.
100%.
Always.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be people when we make it to heaven that I'm like, I didn't even know that you were on the other side of this. I'm on the other side of like my grandma's decision and someone reaching out to my grandma, inviting her to go to church.
Dude.
And you know, it's not like a straight line climb up a mountain. It is a chain reaction going in every direction.
100%. And if you think about it that way, you will enjoy your life so much more. If you stop getting off the like, because it's like a hamster wheel that gets you nowhere, of like, oh, I have to, like, you know, whether your thing may be wanting to travel and communicate, or whatever your area, your field is like, oh, this is how I get to success. So I just keep replicating the thing that I see somebody do. It's like, you're probably not doing all the steps that it took to get to that place. And maybe that's not even the right thing for you, you know? Dude, yeah. And to your point too, of thinking about like, I got a message on Facebook, which I don't check so I could have gotten this message a long time ago. I don't check my Facebook that often, but this was maybe sometime earlier this year, but it was from a youth student. So I'm like, I was 32 when I opened this. I was from a youth student that I would have been a leader in the youth of when I was like 18 or 19. So, well over like 10, 11, 12 years, somewhere around there. And she just said, Mr. Alec. She's like, Mr. Alec, thank you so much for like all the, it was basically just saying like, thank you so much for how you led and what you did for my life. And when you were a youth leader back there at Solid Rock, like you were like, it just really inspiring for me. I just wanted to say thank you.
Not the youth pastor.
Not the youth pastor. Exactly. Yeah. I was just a youth leader, dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't even feel like I did all that much. I would sort music every now and then and I'd play guitar. And yeah, I was just kind of there helping out, dude. But you never know. Like I never thought about that till then. And then it starts to get you to thinking about who are the people that are watching me and just encouraged by the way I'm living life. Even if I feel like it's not like the most glamorous thing.
Dang, yeah.
Who's just, impressed. And ultimately what I love about that is I think in so many ways, not to diminish what pastors and leaders and speakers do, but like that's even so much sometimes more powerful than what happens on a platform.
Right.
Is just seeing somebody live a good life, a life after Jesus in the everyday, you know?
And that's, I mean, probably in all the pastors and leaders that we're talking about, like they would say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know, that ministry, preaching the gospel is 0.5% out of the 100. It's like, what's that quote? It's preach the gospel.
Use as little words as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if so, you use words.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah. It's something like that.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. We butchered it, but it's somewhere around there.
Yeah. But it's like, my life speaks way more volumes than any word I could conjure up or any
100%.
any sermon or anything like that. Your life is an example.
Yeah. The things that I feel like I focus more on now in the season of my life too, and less of like what does success look like, and whether that's, you know, how people notice me or what my title is or money or anything like that. It's, am I a joy to be around? Like, am I actually like just thinking about like positivity too? Like I was on the golf course the other day and I was playing so bad.
Not a positive place.
So bad. And I was playing with somebody and we were in the sand so often. He was like, "Oh, we're in the sand again." I was like, "Hey, we're going to get out of there." And he was like, "Why are you being so positive?" I was like, "I have no other option right now than to just be positive about this situation."
Yeah.
But like living like that of like, hey man, I could look at this glass half empty or glass half full, just choosing to live positively. And, you know, kind of coming back to what we said earlier of just, and how can I just continue to be humble in all the areas of life? Like, I don't know everything there is about being a father or a leader or whatever, but if I can just continue to grow from the people around me, it could be a win in life, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, humble people are so like it's not literally attractive, but like you're attracted to that personality. Like, oh, I can confide in you. Oh, you're honest with me. I can also be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it's just it's the best trait to have.
100%.
To have a humble heart, to tell someone I'm sorry, and to be able to give people that space to not feel condemned as well. It's just it's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm always like trying to recalibrate to, and always make sure that, man, am I taking this with a humble approach, not with, you know, cynicism. And
yeah, I love that, dude. And honestly, I think I could sit here, we could talk for another like 2 to 3 hours, but we'll land the plane here too. We'll have to do this again, because this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we could literally talk for another couple of hours. But hey, one thing I guess I will say as we head out, like obviously you being leading the youth over there, if somebody's listening to this in the Tampa area and needs a church, how could they find you guys there at Grace City Tampa?
Yeah,
or get connected?
You could find Grace City Tampa on Instagram. We have a 9:15, we have 11:15 service every Sunday. We have an office space that's at 1613 North Franklin.
With a coffee shop in it now, right?
Right, where the coffee shop is, where Elevation Coffee Shop, shout out. We're right there by Armature Works.
Awesome.
During the week. And yeah, it's a great hang. We're off Nebraska and Palm at Centro Asturiano de Tampa.
Nailed it.
Oh yeah.
Love
it's
it.
that Cuban flair.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.